Dr. C, did you want to welcome us today?
Oh, good afternoon, everyone. I love this small group of teacher leaders, and we're excited to be here to learn together about mastery paths. And thank you to those of you that are combo teachers, if you are any, and if not, we are learning together. And to come on a long weekend, the Friday before Labor Day, shows your dedication and commitment to wanting to do what's best for us and for teachers as we grow professional capacity. So thank you so much, and we're here to learn with you.
Thanks, Dr. C. So yeah, I think everyone here deserves a prize. Keep that in mind. All right. Okay, so let's go ahead and start on our agenda for today. So please hold. Just gonna share screen with you. Let me just find what I want to share. Here we go. Oh, look at me, tiny me at the bottom. Okay, so this is what we're going to be going over today. We're going to be spending most of our time in the first two columns. We're going to get started and talk about why on earth do you even want to do mastery paths? Because, you know, we want to make sure you know your intention here and your purpose, and we don't want you to do it just for fun, because they are fun, but we want you to really use them effectively. And then we're going to spend some time building it as well. So we're going to add you to a course so you could actually see what it looks like from a student point of view. And then we will also go through to make your own as well. So hopefully by the end of our session today, you will have a mastery path made and be familiar enough to be able to make one on your own. Okay, so I'm going to move on. All right, so here are the benefits of using mastery paths. So enrichment. So for those students who are, are students who need more challenge, they're finishing really early or they're doing really well in our materials, we don't want to keep them still. We want to be able to give them a chance to move forward. So with Mastery Paths, you're able to provide them more challenging work. We're hopefully, when we challenge our kids or when we meet with our kids who need extra assistance, it doesn't mean extra work for them. You know, we just want to give them different work that is more challenging for them, so they can take a different path as well. So I get also remediation. So the students who score lower can also go back and you can review elements for them. Maybe you want to review some things for them so they could take a different path. Okay. There's also the ability for students to choose how they learn. So if you set it up in this way, maybe there's a concept that you want them to learn and you want them to learn it through a video, or maybe you want them to learn it through reading. It's up to you. You can give the students actually that choice so they could choose how they want to learn a certain concept. So that's really cool about Mastery Paths, that they can actually choose how they go. Okay. Right here. So here's some vocabulary that these are just words right now. We're going to go ahead and show you what they are so that they have more meaning to you. But before we get started, let's go ahead and we're actually just going to try it as a student. So I'm going to take this link right here. If you don't want to do this, it's fine. You can simply watch. We're not going to force you, but I promise you after our session is done today, I will remove you from this course, because I know some people are hesitant because they're afraid that if they join that it's going to cause some issues with their Canvas. So I'm going to put it right here in the chat. So here's the course right here. So if you click on that and then enroll in the course, then it will enroll you as a student in the course, and then I'll tell you what to do next. Okay. And if you don't want to do that, you just want to watch, completely respect that. That is totally fine. And those who do join, I promise that I will unenroll you as soon as this class is done. If you don't want to be, you could also let me know and I will keep you in there as well. Okay. So we're going to go ahead and do that for now. I'm going to stop sharing for a moment. Give you a moment to get there.
We could also delete ourselves from that as well, right?
Yes, Ricardo, we were having some issues with that, weren't we, before? People who were trying to delete themselves and it wasn't working. But yes, you should be able to delete yourself. Okay. But when in doubt, I will do it for you. I'll even delete the whole course if it helps. Just give you some sort of comfort here. All right, so I'm just going to give a moment. I think some of you are still coming in. I think I'm going to share a different screen right now. All right, so I'm sharing a different screen right now. So this is my view. This is my view as a teacher. So I'm going to check if I have anyone who Okay, so I have some people who decided to join. Perfect. All right. So before we actually go into the exercise, let me just kind of show you what it looks like from my end, and then I'm going to let you do it as a student, and then we're going to set up yours. Okay. So that's the direction we're going right now. So I saw a lot of people say one, you've heard of Mastery Paths, which means you heard of it, but you're not exactly sure what it does or what it is. Okay. So what I shared with you right now is, as a student, you should be able to see the Disney trivia one. This is just for fun. It's just a for fun quiz that you can take. And you could see that I have it set up as Mastery Paths, and I'm just going to show it to you so that later on you know what is happening. So in my Mastery Path, depending on how you do on the first quiz, it'll take you to different things. So in the beginning, if you score 3.5 points to 5 points, you can choose. And then if you get 2 to 3.5 points, then again, you can choose. And if you get 0, you don't choose. These are the two things that you have to do. So this is what's actually happening for you. So I just wanted to show that to you. And so at this point, go ahead and go into your Disney quiz and go ahead and take it. And you could purposely do poorly or you could do great. It's up to you. I'm not going to judge you and I won't grade you in any way. But go ahead and go through it so that you see what it does for our students. I'm going to give you, what time is it? I'll give you about 5 minutes. I lied, 3 minutes to take that quiz as a student. If something is not working for you, please feel free to unmute and let me know. I don't see the student views, so I'm just praying right now.
I have no idea.
I went ahead and added the link again. Some of you guys that just came in couldn't see it, so it's in this chat.
Thank you, Ricardo. I'm just gonna go to student view to see what it shows me. Here it is. And even if you don't finish, it's fine. It's just so that you see what the students experience when they go through a quiz that is that has Mastery Paths applied to it.
And notice how it says locked until you complete the quiz right there with the lock.
Mm-hmm. So they can't move on until they actually get a certain score in the quiz. So you will have to show your students how to go through this for the first time, but it's pretty self-explanatory after that. Take 1 more minute there, then I'll bring you back. I feel like I should have music. But see some more friends coming in. All right, so I'm going to stop you right here. Hopefully you had a chance to go through a little bit of it just to see what it looks like for the students, especially when you have the chance to choose between different things. And just so you can keep that in mind. So as you build yours later, you could really think like, do I want to give them a choice? Should I give them a choice? Or should I just push them through to the next part? Okay, so I'm gonna, let me move my presentation over here. Actually, you know what? I've decided to make a little change in our training today. All right, so before we go on, I just want to show you some other examples of Mastery Paths, and then I'm going to go in and actually take you into making your own, okay? So hopefully I'm still sharing screen with you right now. All right, so here's the Disney one that I showed you earlier. Here's another one that Ricardo actually made and he shared with high school, and I did show it to you briefly on Monday, and I think it's really powerful to see. This was very intentional, so I click on Mastery Path so you could see. And you can see this is very, very intentional. You're really zeroing in on the kids depending on how they do on the pre-assessment or the pre-assignment. And you could see, you know, if they do pretty well, they have a choice between how to submit their work. This is in Spanish, Ricardo. I'm sure it makes sense. I trust you. And then some review for those who need it. And then again, even more review for those who really saw that it was difficult for them. Ricardo, did you want to say anything about this before I move on?
No, I think you said it best. The idea was that the ones that score high had a choice. And even if it was just like, I like this song better than this song in Spanish, I want to go this way. But the ones that did in the middle, it still got to watch the video to reinforce. And the ones that did very, very low had my PowerPoint, the video, the notes to be able to complete everything that everybody else on the top layers were completing.
Nice, thank you. All right, so now we're actually just gonna get into it right now and start making our own if you feel like you're ready. Whether or not you're ready, that's where we're going. And so right now we're going to make a bit of a choice right now. If you feel like you have material that is ready, what you really need is your very first assignment or assessment. I'm gonna stop sharing so that we can see each other. Okay, so you need your very first assignment, or it's your source assignment. It could either be assignment or a quiz. And so however they do on that first one, that's what's gonna tell them where they go, okay? So if you have something ready, then you can go ahead and make your own. But if you don't, just for the sake of this training, I'm going to provide you assignments and I'm gonna show you how to get them so that you could just grab what I'm doing and you can actually follow the steps with me on the exact same assignments, just kind of as a practice. And then it's yours to keep. And then you can do it on your own when you're ready to do it, okay? Because I know some of you might not be ready, all right? So those of you who are ready, just kind of hang out, try to locate those quizzes or assignments that you want to start with and maybe some follow-up assignments. And then those of you who just kind of want to copy what I'm doing, I'm going to show you how to get to it, okay? So here we go. If I've lost you, please just, unmute and let me know. All right.
Teresa,
Yes.
I have a
Yes.
question. So
Sure.
like I do use Think Central, it's an outside assignment, and I could put a grade on it on Canvas. So if I was to use the mastery path, I need to grade it before they can move forward. Is that correct? Or
You do have to grade it before they, if it is the source assignment,
Yes.
the very first one,
Mhm.
you do have to grade it before you push it through. Mhm.
Okay, thank you.
That's why we recommend like a multiple choice. So it grades it for you and it sends them in separate ways.
Without waiting for you. Because really the whole purpose of Mastery Paths is so that, I know it takes a lot of work in the beginning, but the purpose of that is that you're really doing all this work now so that it frees up your time to work with kids who are really struggling. So your whole class, regardless of their level, they're busy, they're productively busy in working on things. And then you have that chance to really reach out to those kids who are really just, they're not even on that. So you're really having a hard time. So that's what Mastery Paths does for us. But that's a very good question. Thank you for asking. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead and show you. I created a practice one and put it in the Commons. So I'm going to show you how to get to it if you want to grab it. And then so you could use it for today's exercise, okay? I suggest, it's entirely up to you, because I suggest, it's about the water cycle, and I don't know how great it is because it's just for the exercise. I suggest putting it in a course that's not published. I know all of you have like a sandbox or just some sort of course that you practiced on. I suggest doing it there just for the sake of today's, if you're grabbing the one that I'm talking about, and then you can always move it around after that. But just so you don't mess up something in your real course and then all of a sudden you're mad at Teresa because if I made you do something, right? Which you would never do anyways. All right, so let's go ahead. I'm gonna share my screen with you and show you how to get it, okay? So here we go, screen 2. Here we go. Okay, so I'm going to Commons. Is it Commons or the Commons? Somebody tell me because I keep, I say it so many times. Dr. C, do you know? Commons or the Commons?
I am looking it up right now. It just says Commons. It doesn't say the Commons.
Because if you look on the global navigation, it just says Commons. So I would assume it's Commons, not the Commons. But
And
okay.
and I just went to it and it just says Commons.
Well, good to know. Okay, so Commons. I will try to remember. I'll do the opposite, knowing me. Okay, so here I am in Commons. And way to go. And then, so I didn't save it as a template. So just go ahead and X out of templates. But it is under Hacienda La Puente and it's called Mastery Paths. So Mastery, spelled correctly, if you just type in the word mastery, it's the only one for our whole district. It's right there called Mastery Paths Exercise Water Cycle. Okay, so I'm going to show you how to grab it. So again, it's in Hacienda La Puente, Mastery, and you see my name on it. Because if you end up Xing out of Hacienda La Puente and you press Mastery, you'll probably get a few. Just find the one with my name on it. Or if you want to do it with someone else's, I will not be offended. That's fine too. Okay, so I click on the title. And then you can look through it if you want, but for the sake of today's, exercise, just take it. Go over here to the right and click on import, and then import it into your sandbox or the course that is not published. Any unpublished course you have, just type it in. Or here, see, I have Castro Sandbox. I would put it there. Anywhere you want. Choose where you want it. Import to this course. That is it. And we're going to wait for you to do that for those of you who wanted to use it as an exercise. Okay. So again, if you don't know how we got here, I clicked on Commons. I was at the search. I X'd out of templates because this is not a template. I typed the word mastery. I clicked on the title and import download, and I chose which course I want to put it in. And I suggested that you put it in a course that doesn't have students. And then I clicked at the bottom, I said import into course. That's it. And hopefully we will all be there in a moment if you wanted to do that. Okay. All right, so now I'm gonna go into a course where I did bring it in. So now go to your course that you put it in. So if you put it in your sandbox, go to your sandbox. If you put it in copy of blah, 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 go to there. And you would go there by clicking on course, choosing the course that you put it in. And then from there, you would go to modules, because what I shared with you is just a module. I did not share a course with you. It was just a module. So it will be in your modules. And you will see something called water cycle. And you'll see there's no mastery paths there at the top. It is on the bottom. I did that intentionally. It's not at the top because we're going to do this together. Those of you who are starting from scratch, who feel like they're ready to do this on your own, go to your modules right now and we'll meet there. Okay. So those of you who are following along with us, thumbs up if it actually worked for you and it's actually in your modules right now. Sweet. All right, I love it. Okay, so here we go. So those of you who are doing it on your own, can you raise your hand if you're just using your own material? You're not using what I shared. Oh, nobody, perfect. All right, so unless I don't see your camera and maybe you are using your own. So I still won't forget about you. So if you are using your own, you're going to want to make a module. The very first thing you're going to add in your module is your source assignment, which is the first one that will tell you which way they go. So for those of you who are starting from scratch, you would go to plus, you would add your assignment or quiz, and then you would add it. That's all you would do it right now. For the rest of us, you have this whole thing. And so you might be wondering, what? Teresa, you just lost me right now, hold on. So the first thing we need to do is we actually need to turn on mastery paths for this to work. So let's turn it on. And here's how you do it. You're going to go to your settings. And then from there, you're going to go to feature options. And from there, you're going to find the word mastery paths and you're going to click it on. You can see that mine's on right now and yours is probably not on. So turn it on. Perfect. So now that it's turned on, let's go back to that module again. So if you turned it on, you should see at the bottom, the third to the last one, that it actually says mastery paths. Do you see that? So if you did turn it on, I went back to my modules. In our water cycle module, the third to the last one says mastery paths. Do you see mastery paths there on yours? Yes? Okay, perfect. So I left that there because that tells me whether you turned it on or not. Okay, so you can go ahead and click on that and take a look at it. So take a look at that mastery paths right now. Click on it. And it actually shows you the very end of my module. I'm giving the students a choice to either memorize the water cycle song or to explain the water cycle. They have a choice on what they want to do. So that's the mastery path I had at the very end. Okay, so I just said, pick one, whichever one you want to do. Okay, so just so you see what that is, I'm just going to click cancel because it's already there. All right, so they would take this one that's called what's next, and then they would choose. Okay, so I'm just going to X out of that. Let me just get out of there. All right, so here we are. All right, so are we ready to begin to organize? So there's lots of different ways that you could get started. You could actually bring in all the material you want for this module and then start to move things around and organize, or you could do it one thing at a time. Here's assignment 1, assignment 2, assignment 3, and pull them in. It's up to you. I like to see things in kind of an organized mess and then start to organize. Okay, so the very first thing at the top, this is my source assignment. This is going to be the one that is going to tell me or tell them which direction they're going to go. Okay, is that clear? It's pretty, makes sense, right? Okay, and then from here, I'm going to add what's called a header. And if you don't use headers, this is a great place to start using them just to organize it for you. Your students will not see this header, but we're gonna go ahead and do it. So we're gonna go to this plus sign right here. So go for it. Let's hit on the plus. And we're going to choose text header. And I'm just gonna call it, let's see what I called it here. I'm just gonna call it path 1. And I'm just gonna add item. And I'm gonna drag it up right underneath my source assignment, right there, okay? So I'm gonna let you do that right now. Go ahead and add a path 1. You can see that is unpublished because the kids don't see that. This is for me. They don't need to see which path. This is just for my organization. And this is not necessary, this is just suggested, okay?
But text headers are really helpful too when you're organizing your module. Just be sure to publish them so they do see them.
Yes, so if you do want the kids to see them, especially if it's not a mastery path, publish them. It'll be very helpful to the kids. But for
Can
this
you
case,
show
I'm
that
not going to
again?
publish it. Sure.
Sorry, Teresa. Can
No,
you show
no,
that
no.
again? I missed it.
Yes, absolutely. So I'm here. I went to the title of my module, which is water cycle. I clicked on the plus, and then I chose text header. Oh, it's so tiny, huh? Let me see if I can enlarge what I'm doing right now. Yeah, is that better? Okay. So plus, and then I chose text header, and then I called it path 1. But since you're having me do it again, I'm just going to choose path 2 because I know I'm going to need it later. Okay, so here it is. So it'll show up at the bottom of your module, and I just dragged it. Okay, so path 1, I put it right under the source assignment because they're going to do this one first, and then they're going to go to path 1. Okay. For those of you who are ready, go ahead and do path 2 on your own. See if you remember how to do it. And if you don't, then let me know and I'm going to do it again. So path 2, I'm going to drag it up. And I think I memorized it. I think it's after this one. Okay. I know you don't even know what these assignments are about at this point, but just trust me, it's just part of the exercise. So we have our source assignment at the top. We have path 1. The first 2 assignments, which you're just going to trust me that that belongs in path 1, okay? And then path 2 is for the rest, okay? I'm going to wait for us all to be there. You guys are doing great, by the way. I love small groups. So. Okay, so we haven't made any mastery paths yet. If the students go into this, it will just bring them to one, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next, to the next. We haven't assigned any sort of mastery paths. I'm gonna wait for you to finish your headers, and we're actually gonna go into making these mastery paths right now. I see some focused faces, so I'm gonna give you a moment. For those of you who are ready, here's where I'm going. I go to my very first source assignment, and I click on the 3 dots. I'm gonna let you guess what I'm going to press. Don't all say it at once. I know you're muted. Okay, so you're gonna click on the 3 dots. So hopefully you're all with us now. So go to your source assignment or your source quiz, click on the 3 dots, and you're gonna click on Mastery Paths. And then it's going to open up. I'm gonna zoom out, went the wrong way. Zoom out a little bit. There we go. So I'm gonna wait for you all to be on this Okay, so you only have to do this on your source assignment. You're not going to do this with every single assignment. You're doing it on the source one. Okay, you ready? Okay, here we go. Actually, you know what? I'm going to open this in a new tab for myself because I don't remember what they are. Here we go. Okay, so let's go ahead. So on the very first one, oh, it's already assigned for me, but oh, because I already had points there. Okay, so what I'm telling Canvas really is on the first one, if the kids score 8 to 10 points, that's why I'm putting an 8 there. 8 to 10 points, this is what I want them to do. So I'm going to click on the plus right above it, and I'm going to choose the assignment that would go there. And the assignment was called heat gain. Just trust me. Heat gain and loss. There you go. Add assignment. And then I'm going to add more. What type of cloud? I think that's what it was called. What type of cloud? And there it is. Okay, so I'm just going to make that bigger for you so you see what I just did. So go ahead and try that right now. So I assigned 8 points at the bottom. I'm telling Canvas if they get 8 or above, this is where I want them to go. I want them to go to the heat gain and loss and what type of cloud. Okay. Just going to go through that. Those of you who are using one screen right now, I'm so sorry. I'll talk you through those steps. So I went to my source assignment. I clicked on the 3 dots, and then I clicked on Mastery Path. And then from there, on the very top one, I clicked on the plus button, and I added heat gain and loss. And then I clicked on the plus button again, and I clicked what type of cloud. And that's where we are right now. Okay. All right. So hopefully you are where I am right now. I'm so sorry you're getting tired of this, but it's the only way I know. So can I get a thumbs up? Oh, perfect. If you're where I am. Okay, so I want you to notice something. Do you see how there's an and right here in the middle? That means that if they finish one, they'll go to the next one, but click on it and show me what happens. Go ahead, click on it. Wow, it's amazing, right? So I know, mind blown. Okay, so now it turned into an or. So now when the kids go in, they will not do one and then the other. They will choose which one. So just so you know, that's how it works, okay? So I'm just gonna turn it back to and because I really did want that in and. So I'm gonna click on the or and then it turns into and again, okay? So now let's go to the second one. So the second one I said score before. And so Canvas knows that this is 4 to a 7 because the one above it is 8. Okay, so 4, 5, 6, 7. This is where they're gonna go. So I might not do all of them because there's like a million. Actually, you know what? Yeah, I'll do all of them just so that you have time to practice. Go ahead and hit plus. And the assignment I'm looking for is called Clouds Practice. I have so many because I practiced so many times before our training. And I'm just gonna keep going. The other one is called Water, Cycle, and Clouds. I'm gonna keep going. There's 5 in here. You don't have to really do all 5. I'll just do 5 so that you have time to catch up, okay? Water cycle practice. There we go. Go. And, oh, I think I missed one. I missed one. These are out of order now. So I'll show you what to do if that accidentally happens to you. I did them on purpose, of course. Okay, so I added 5 things. And those are the 5. Let me zoom out. There you go. You don't really have to do all those 5, everyone. This is just for practice. You could just add 2 or 3 if you want. That's fine. Okay. So if you notice, I actually put it in the wrong order. So you could simply just grab it and move it. Oh, just kidding. Well, that was working before. Oh, what happened? I'm just going to check water cycle practice. Oh, it got moved to the front.
They always move to the front, Teresa.
Oh, I didn't know that.
Mhm.
So now we learned together. When you move them, they move to the front. Oh, I didn't want that there. So Ricardo, I can't move them to the side even if I wanted to.
I had
Okay,
to play
fine.
with it and move it to the front and switch them until I finally got it the way I wanted it.
That's not annoying at all. Okay. Okay. If I really cared about it, I would take time in my mind and try to fix that. But for the sake of our exercise, we're not going to go through
I
that. Let's
think
just
if you
pretend.
switch it to or, then it'll move to the front of the or, and then you can switch it back to and. Does that make sense?
Yeah, it does. But I'm not going
Or
to.
just move the other one that you want in front of it. Since you know they all go in front, just move.
Yeah,
the other.
there's two here that I actually want to
Mm.
move. So I just don't want to waste my time in it, but definitely Dr. C, that's probably the best solution. So again, we're going to practice the or thing again, just so you could see. So you see, these are 5 activities. You could stick the or, and now here they are. They do these 3, or they do those 2. Again, be strategic about it. This is not just because the or feature is cool, but make sure that you're covering what you want to cover. So just, it's as simple as that. And then you could put the and back again. Okay.
And if we were really doing it, wouldn't we pay attention to the points? Like we don't want some to get 100 points and some to get 4 points. All of that.
Absolutely. Especially if you're doing or. If you're doing or, for me, I would make both sides have equal points as they go through it. Good point, Dr.
Teresa, can I ask a question?
Sure, go for it.
So the order that it's in, is that the order they have to go in? Like they can't go to the second one until they've done that first one?
And it's just
No.
like other modules, they go in order of how they're placed.
Okay.
It's a good
So like
question.
if I have the water cycle practice first and clouds
Mm-hmm.
second, they can't go into the clouds practice until they've done that water cycle practice.
Correct. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Is that, Toe says, please chime in if I'm incorrect. Okay, I assume that is correct.
That's my understanding as well.
Okay, thank you.
But if it's an or, then they can choose any one, right?
Well, if it's an or, it still goes in order, but it goes in. So if they choose this one, they'll get these 3 in this order. Or if they choose this one, they get these 2 in this order.
Okay.
So the order still remains, but they only choose one set of activities. Okay. All right. So don't forget to hit save at the bottom. Teresa has made that mistake a gazillion times. So hit save, and then now we wait patiently. And then, yes, it always brings you back to quizzes because my source assignment is a quiz. I just go back to modules again.
Teresa, I have a quick question.
Sure, go for it.
Say you put one in the original assignment, the or,
Mm-hmm.
and then similar assignments after, do you have to then put it twice?
You mean, and the or, you mean they're not done after the or? You still have more things for them
Like
to
say,
do?
let me go back to what our assignments were.
Oh, here,
Let's say you wanted to do clouds practice or water cycle and clouds, but everybody was going to do a day in the life of the water droplet after.
Oh, if you're going to reassign to everybody again, then I think that you would just have to, you wouldn't be using this mastery path. You would take them in another way. Ricardo, Can you correct me on that?
In the example that I created, I wanted them to, all of them finish with the same quiz that they took at the beginning. So you just don't put it as part of the mastery path. It comes in at the end, and all of them get assigned to it at the end.
So that's, so I'll show you what Ricardo's talking about, but I'll show you in the module that I sent you, that's in essence, at the very end, the one that says new path. Sorry, that should be unpublished. The one that says new path, they click on what's next. That's for everybody. So they finish the mastery path for the lesson, and then when they're done with everything, they click on what's next. They click on what's next, and then what's next will bring them to the choices of these 2 final projects or these 2 final things. So that's what Ricardo's saying. If it's going to be assigned to everybody again, put it at the bottom for everybody. And it's in the same module as the mastery path, but it's not part of the mastery path. And this one that I have is in a mastery path of its own. It has a whole mastery path of its own that's separate from the first one. Okay, and then I'll show you what Ricardo was talking about.
And Teresa,
So is that, can I ask a question?
Sure.
So that what's next thing, they have to it won't show up right after they're done with their last mastery path thing. Like they'll have to go back into the module and click that.
When they're done
Okay.
with the last piece, they're brought back to the module anyways.
Oh,
So
okay.
so
So it
this is
should be
Ricardo.
obvious.
Yeah.
Okay.
And that's why it's not really a quiz. I called it what's next so that they know like, oh, I can't click on what's next. And so so that was actually not really a quiz. It's just kind of a placeholder for them to choose which way to go. So Ricardo, did you want to talk a little bit about yours?
I wanted to mention, if you go back to the one you were doing, Teresa.
The clouds one?
Yeah, just because someone asked a question about if the kids could skip something. Actually, that's actually a good question. They could skip. They pick the one they wanted to go or the path they wanted to follow, right? But they could skip to the third assignment instead of doing the second one first. So the way you avoid that is by going to right there next to the water cycle, Teresa, where you were on the module.
I'll go back. I apologize.
Yeah. All the way to the snowman on the water cycle itself, on top, one more higher, or actually the actual module, one more, yeah. Go ahead and go edit. And right there, you can add a requirement. And you can say that they have to complete it in sequential order. You see the second option right there?
Yes, right here.
So they don't skip like you were saying. Even though I already picked the path, I'm still gonna go to the third assignment instead of doing the second one first. So that way you make them follow. Yeah.
Interesting. So I guess when the kids see it, just like when you saw the Disney one, it showed you all of them. Like once you pass the first one, then it shows you all of it and you could jump around. I didn't, yeah, that makes sense. I didn't know that. So you could jump around, and then, so Ricardo just showed us, and I'm going to do it one more time for those of you who missed it, show you how to do it so that they have to go in that order. So they can't even click on the next ones until they've finished it. So I'm going to show you that to you again. Okay, I just learned something with you. Thank you, Ricardo. So I go to the title of the module, I click on the snowman, edit, and then add a requirement. And then I click on this box that says students must move through requirements in sequential order. Yeah, I guess, if I'm having them, if they don't, depending on how they do on the first assignment, I guess it doesn't matter to me what order they go to. Sometimes it depends. You have to be intentional for sure. Yeah. Interesting. And I'm sure there's so many more things to try here, huh? Look.
Yes, there is.
Wow. So just complete one of these requirements. Nice.
Don't touch it today.
I'm not gonna touch it.
There's so much in there.
I'm like, now I'm excited. Okay, so so you pretty much just created a mastery pass right now. So hopefully you get the essence of doing it, so that when you go in to do it in your own published course, you can see where you're going to create all your items, bring them into modules, organize them, and then make your mastery pass so that it knows what to do. But something I didn't mention that is very important, your very, very first source assignment, you need to make sure it is assigned to everyone. I know that's kind of a given, but it has to be assigned to everybody so that everyone takes it and then it points them in the right direction. Okay. Go ahead. I feel like someone's about to say.
Do you have my present progressive in there? That's a different class, right? Oh, there it is. Yep. Scroll down all the way to the bottom for the one that So notice how at the end, the last assignment is assigned to everybody. So it's outside of the mastery path. I just brought it in so everybody has to complete the same quiz we took at the beginning. So I'm hoping that the kids that did poorly in that quiz, when they take it again at the end, they are doing better because they went through the whole module.
And I definitely agree with that, especially if you're working on some sort of skill. You're starting with your pretest, and if there's a pretest, there should be a post-test at the end that every student is taking. And here's another point that might come up later. Do these grades push into Aries? Yes and no. In order for grades to push, I know, don't hang up on me, don't go anywhere. No escape. So in order for grades to push into Aries, it has to be assigned to everybody. Remember, that's a requirement. So if you're doing mastery paths and only half the classes here or half the classes here, then those are things that don't get pushed. But the grades that I bring into Aries, I want them to affect their report card. So I don't really want those grades anyways. I want the final grade, like for Ricardo, this very last one, that's the one I want to bring over. And that is assigned to everybody. So that is the one that I would push over. I wouldn't push the pre either. I don't want their grade to be hurt by something. Like they didn't even learn it yet, so again, be strategic with that. There was a view that I wanted you to see.
I also just want to add that when Ricardo explained it that way, I was like doing a little, jumping jack in my mind, because that's true formative assessment. If we're using it as we go and we're, letting them have different opportunities to learn, that's true formative. And so that is a great thing to have these mastery paths and then push the result of that whole module, all those lessons together.
Ricardo, there was a view that you showed and I forgot about it. It was a view of how it looks, how you could see the different kids are in different levels. Do you remember where that is?
Yes, when you go to your first assignment, the one that
Disney
determines
one.
where they go,
Yeah.
and you click on it. As a teacher,
Oh,
on the right.
There it is. Okay, so let me go back because you're like, what are you talking about right now? So I'm just going to go back to my module. So you're all students in this course, or not all of you. So whoever joined, you're students in this course. And the one that you did was a Disney trivia. So if I click on the source assignment, if I click on it, I can see which students are going to take the first path, the second path, and whatever. Someone didn't do that great. No offense, it's fine. So I could see here. So not only do I know where they're going, I know who I need to check up on and see how they're doing. And it kind of shows me, I did tell you to purposely not do so well. So I get it. Okay.
Yeah,
so
like I
here.
said, the Slinky Dog was playing golf.
Let me see. Not going to put you on the spot. Okay, there you go.
You can, it's okay.
All right, so so that's a great feature that you could see where they are at the moment. So while they're working independently, then you kind of check up on them and see what path they've decided to take, not decided to take, that they ended up taking. Okay, I know that was a lot of information, but I feel like we really got to go into it and try it out ourselves. Do you have any questions? This is a live question at this point.
Teresa, can I add one more thing?
Yeah.
One more thing is that some of us might want to use pages as part of our mastery paths. And then you need to do something before you can use a page, because immersive reader is part of pages. So it's such a great tool that you might want to bring it in. But in order to use pages, I'm going to have Teresa go to her pages right now.
Or you want me
No,
to
go ahead, go to pages. Yeah, go ahead and go to pages, Teresa. And then go to a particular page. It doesn't matter what that, and click on it. One of your pages that you have. And then go ahead and go to edit. So I have a video on a page, and notice that at the bottom, you need to add allow and mastery path. Scroll down, Teresa. This is only for pages that you have to do this. You're good. Right there. You see how it says allow and mastery path? You cannot use pages unless you click that to be able to put in your mastery paths. Yeah. Thank you.
So Ricardo, that's even if it's one of my elements for later, like in the mastery path, I do have to check this. I have to check
for pages you do, yeah.
Okay. I wonder why that seems really, anyways, it doesn't matter. So if you didn't write that down somewhere, if you want a page, click on the page, edit, and at the very bottom, it says allow in mastery paths. I would not have known that, and now I do. So write it down. And then of course hit save. Okay. But everything else is good, right? Assignments, quizzes are pretty automatic. It's just the pages. That's very interesting.
Only the pages.
All right. Does anyone have any questions that we could address, or things that we could walk you through, or anything? We did so great.
The correct answers on the Disney quiz. I was just not even knowing if some were right or wrong. Just kidding.
Just so you know, Ricardo did make his from scratch, so I'll give him credit for that. But I found my materials in Commons. So not exactly, I did take some of their things and I tweaked a little bit to what we're doing today. But if ever you need things so that you're not starting from scratch and you're curious, there are so many great things in Commons. So you can, that's why I have to put the comments in front. It doesn't make sense. In Commons. Because I found all this great stuff that I didn't have to start from scratch. But don't take my word for it for that water cycle thing. I didn't go over it. So if you're going to show that to your class, please read it first. Make sure it makes sense. All right. So if you don't have any questions regarding today, if you have any other questions, we're here for you for the next few minutes. And if you feel like you want to get a head start on your weekend, that is totally fine. We thank you so much for joining us. We literally thought there was going to be like one person here today, so we were just happy to have you. But if you have any questions,
a quick question about
Sure.
Zoom. If we wanted to have the kids go